I'm genuinely ashamed of saying, what are we going to do? So like mad. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel La Fraise. I'm Noémie, this is Milo right here. Sneak peek, you haven't seen this t-shirt yet. This will be in the last t-shirt video, so I will not talk about it now. And you can see, you can kind of see. So the way I've organized those t-shirts, there's a pile per video because otherwise there's no way this is working. Okay, this is not what we're here today. Today we are here to prepare my wardrobe for Japan, and this was a bit of a surprise video for me because originally I was like, I'm going to make it work with what I have, it's going to be fine, I have enough stuff, etc. Now I have realized two things. One, at the moment I don't fit in all of my normal clothes, and so I don't have access to my full wardrobe right now. Also, some of my stuff needed a little bit of repair, and also, oh my gosh, everything I have in my wardrobe has patterns on. Like, I have too many colors and too many patterns. And so what I have decided is to go to the fabric store and grab a couple of very simple fabrics. I really had to stay away from the patterns, force myself not to get any patterns, and to have very simple things that would unlock the power of my wardrobe. Because I have, for example, quite a few nice skirts that would be perfect to go in Japan. I feel like skirt is going to keep you cool, but at the same time covered enough to be comfortable. And I can't wear those because I have no tops that go with them. So let me show you, okay, yeah, everything. So first, the repairs that are going on. First thing first, this is plain. Now I don't know if I will take this to Japan because I find this a bit revealing to be comfortable, but in my day-to-day life this is something plain, so would be useful to be able to wear this with my skirts. But what was happening, I didn't take a video beforehand. The lining is a crepe fabric, and the lining has really stretched out over time with washes, and so even though it was understitched, the lining would really like pour out and poke out. So what I have done, I don't know if you can see, I have top stitched the lining all around. So now you have a, you know, it looks like there's a bias binding, but there's not. It's literally just, I've top stitched it so that it now sits nicely down where it should be. So I think this is going to help. I mean, it should, because now the lining would really need to go a long way to try to escape now. So hopefully this is going to help. So in my attempt to get plain colors going, this was a first repair I did. This one I'm definitely taking to Japan with me. So this is a top I made 4 years ago now, in 2021. And this is just a very simple linen top. But what was happening is that it was really fraying all around the neckline, all around the armholes. I don't know if I didn't use the best techniques because it was when I was quite new at sewing, but also it could just be age because the thing is 4-year-old, so I don't really know. In any case, what I have done for this one is that I have chopped all around the thing, so I like literally got rid of a centimeter, like I accepted that it would get a bit smaller, and I have put a bias tape to finish it. Here we are. I was a bit worried that, yeah, it's gaping a bit. That's the thing, you can't just like make a neckline wider and not pay the price for it. It is a bit gaping now because of the fact that obviously it has been cut out, but I mean, it's not too bad. We'll deal with this, but it is a little bit gaping now, but at least it's going to be able to be worn a little bit more. Yeah, it's funny to see it because I'm like, oh, it's the same top but it's a different shape now. But in any case, I thought it'd be useful to have this one. It's very simple, it's very easy to wear with everything. I didn't have the original matching thread anymore from this. I mean, this project is so old. You can tell how old it is because it was at the time I needed to do 2 stitch lines to do a hem. So I would turn it over once, stitch, and then turn it over a second time and stitch again. This is how old it is. Like, you can tell if you beginner, you might do this, but you quickly don't do this anymore. And look, this is the green thread from the green t-shirts I have in my t-shirt series, and matches quite well. I'm very pleased with that. It's very nice to have, you know, a thread that matches. I'm trying to use up my thread quite consistently because I don't like to have a million, and that's a really good match, so I'm really happy. And because I've repaired it, I've used the tag from my Kelly and the Machine advent calendar that says make, wear, wash and repair, because I feel like this one has had a good life and is going to keep having a good life because I repaired it. Next up, this one I still need to fix. This is also one of my tank tops from the fabric store, and similarly it's starting to fray around the armhole and around everywhere where there's the bias tape. I think what I'm going to do here, because I really can't afford to cut, like the armholes are already really big, so I can't do the same thing as I did here. It's going to be way too gapey. So I think what I'm going to do here is just go with a zigzag, maybe twice if I need to, but I'm just going to zigzag the edge. It's not going to be as neat. At the same time, because it has a white print, I feel like it's going to be fine. Not going to be as neat, but at least it's going to prolong the life of this one a little bit. And this one is probably coming to Japan. I mean, it's a very easy print to wear. Again, it is a print, but I'm allowed some prints. But yeah, very easy, very flowy, it's very nice to wear, so like this. Okay, now the fabric I have bought for Japan. For both of those, what I have kind of pictured is that I would make one linen tank top and one Agostina out of them. So two favorite patterns that I make over and over. But I thought that'd be just the easiest to have stuff that is easy to wear with everything, and especially unlock the power of my skirt. So this is a off-white. I think at the fabric store they had a true white and off-white, and then a bit more beigey, like a very, very light beige, let's call it this. So I have this extremely light beige linen here, which I'm going to try to make a tank top and an Agostina out of. Hopefully that's not going to take too long, because leaving for Japan is sooner and sooner, and I really need to get my act together and get those going. So this is a linen, and I thought, as I am blessed with sweat that stains my clothes, if you are a person who has sweat that doesn't stain your clothes, thank your lucky star. I thought that going for something a little bit beige would stain less than going for like white, and also would be a bit easier to wear. And then this one, Francesca very kindly said that it looked like bandages, which, you know, we love a supporting partner. I don't really know. So this one, same thing. I'm going to try to do a tank top and an Agostina out of this. I just thought, oh, you know, it's like a little bit more fun. It's a little bit different. What I really wanted to get was a broderie anglaise, but they all needed to be lined. If I want something in white, because again, every time I think, okay, I can't have any colors because those show sweat more. Yes, it's fun to be in my body. I was like, so I can't have a color, so I need to get the white broderie anglaise, but those are way too see-through. It's such a thin fabric, so I couldn't get any of the broderie anglaise. But for now, this is what I'm making. If there's time, but I'm trying not to put pressure. Oh yeah, there's this as well. If there's time, but I'm trying not to stress myself out, because yeah, not many days before we leave. I have a tiny bit left over from this fabric, which was from my, how can I show you this without fully opening it? This one. From this fabric, that was from my, which shirt was that one? The Noah shirt from my shirt series. I have a tiny bit left over, and with a bit of patchworking, I would be able to do another tank top out of this. But this is patterned, so this is not really a priority for Japan, because anyway, it's going to be difficult to wear. I bought this remnant of blue linen to make myself a pair of shorts, because one of my issues as well is that all of my shorts ride up between the legs. So any shorts that are too short or too wide, if they're wide, the fabric rides up as I walk, and then I end up with that lovely look, which is like ballooning short on the outside, all swatted up between my crotch on the inside, so my thighs are rubbing, which is not fun to visit. I feel like I'm exposed because all of my inner thighs on show. It's not the life I want to lead. I think I'm going to base myself on the one and only, the Austen pants, and make shorts out of that. I have 90 centimeters, which is pretty small for what I want to do. I also had a whole moment where I was like, I want to make them with pleats at the front and elastic at the back, but I think wanting to put pleats at the front and an elastic at the back of Austen pants when they're not meant to, I need to stop. It's like something I'm really obsessed with, but maybe I need to stop really wanting to do that and accept that, you know, there's another pants for it. So we have linen shorts coming, that's for me as well. And then I'm also, hope I'm going to get to make this because this is for Fran, shorts for Fran that I've already talked about. I'm copying a pair of her shorts and making her new shorts, and feel a bit bad because I have a lot of sewing planned for myself, and the sewing that's not happening is the one for Francesca. There's so much more I want to sew, but if I get that done, the Japan wardrobe is already going to be a lot more manageable. So fingers crossed this works. What I have done yesterday, I have cut my 2 tops that I'm... did you leave a mark on my lens? I have cut the 2 tops that I'm making in the beigey whitey linen. I didn't cut all of my tank tops because I'm doing a size bigger than the one I normally do, and I do want to see how that fits. This one, in which I'm also hoping to do an Agustina and a tank top, I will cut it later. Now that I see how hard it was to cut the tank top in the first fabric, so the linen, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to cut the Agustina and the tank top in this. So the fabric has stretch in this direction a little bit, not in this direction, no stretch. And the way I made everything fit on the piece of linen is that I cut the Agustina on top and then I cut the tank top on the bottom, and that was literally exactly enough fabric. I'm not joking, this was quite a squeeze. To cut the tank top, I really had to squeeze the sides. So the side seam is going like this normally, and it kind of goes like ooh, and then tapers a bit because I didn't have the last, like I was missing maybe 2 to 3 millimeters on each side. It's going to have to be a bit smaller. Hopefully it'll fit because I'm also quite wide in my hips. So I mean, I hope it's going to work out. I have cut a little bit of extra room for myself to be able to do French seams in this pattern, and the Agustina is the modified version I always do. I just deepened the armholes a little bit, and I also made it so I have the space to do French seams. For the cuffs for the Agustina, I could cut one fully on one of the scraps of fabrics I have left, but I was so tight on the fabric that the other cuff is composed of 3 different pieces, so a little bit more of a squeeze than what I had anticipated, but I mean, at least I have absolutely no waist, so that's very nice. For this fabric that has the stretch this way but not that way, I wanted to cut the tank top on the stretchy side because the tank top is the most fitted of the 2. The Agustina is so big it doesn't matter if it's not cut the right way around, but I don't think I'm going to be able to put the pattern pieces this way, so we're going to have to see. And then what I have also started yesterday was cutting Francesca's shorts. I've talked so much about the fact that I was going to do those shorts, and now not only is it summer, and that could have been an argument in itself that she deserves shorts to wear, but I was like, we're going to Japan, she's going to wear them there, do it. So I've taken the plunge. I realize it's a type of thing where you don't do it, and so it becomes a big thing, and was feeling a bit stressed about cutting into the shorts and having to copy them, and I don't know, I knew I could do it, but it's just knowing that I had to switch my brain on to do it. I was not really looking forward to it, but what I did is that, yeah, I cut a front piece, I cut a back piece, noted all of the darts, noted everything. The short had lived for quite a while, and so the fabric was quite distorted. The hemline was really all over the place, and so I don't think that the hemline was originally drafted like in a wave. So I have decided to smooth that out. I have added my seam allowance, checked everything, so normally it should be all good, and so I'm going to see how that fits her. Hopefully it all goes well. So actually yesterday I started copying the shorts as a pattern, and then Francesca was like, oh, let's go to Uniqlo now. We were going to go later, but we decided to go now, and I bought 2 t-shirts, and it's totally crazy because you might know I have made 19 t-shirts recently, but obviously some have long sleeves, and what I really need is plain things. All the t-shirts I made were not plain, and also I wanted something that was quite sweat friendly, and Uniqlo has this range that's a more technical fabric that is more sweat friendly. I haven't bought ready to wear in forever. I was looking at other things, but I really can't, like everything I'm like I could make it myself, but here it's a special fabric that's supposed to be good for the heat. So I will report back. Today, 13 days before takeoff, I cut the new pattern for Francesca's shorts. If I have time, I really hope that I'm also going to be able to make a pair in this fabric here. A more relaxed pair, but still based on the same pattern. So I cut the pattern, then I cut the fabric. Then I have cut my own shorts, and I was trying to squeeze those shorts in 90 centimeters of fabric. So keep in mind that in Belgium, our selvage is 1,40 meters. So I was trying to decide if I wanted to put the two pieces on top of one another and just sacrifice some of the hem and try to squeeze the original pockets in. But I think if I had cut the pockets, because the pockets of the hardened pants are really big, they just took too much fabric, or I would have to do the trick when you have the little piece that's visible, you do it in the fabric and then you cut the pocket into something else. But I'm trying to do quick sews here. There's so much I want to do, so I did not want to spend time fiddling with that. One thing I really want to say when you see those clips, because when I see people cut fabric that is not iron, it drives me a bit insane. But a massive example of do as I say, not as I do, because in this case I did not iron my fabric. Know that it should be ironed and that it's not. I have a way where I hold the fabric a bit taut while I cut to kind of counteract that. So just so you know, I'm aware of this issue and I'm trying to control the damage. So the modification, except the fact that the pockets are now in seam, it means that when I cut the front piece, I don't have the angled side where the pocket would be. So do I do any fancy drawing or scientific or anything to draw the front? No, I just keep going and create that wedge totally by feel and let's say by talent. I do it by pure talent, but so it's not super precise probably, but it's fine. I also added on top of the piece my own pattern piece, which allows me to add a pleat into those, because apparently I can't get rid of this idea. I really tried to tell myself, Noémie, the Arden pants are not a pattern that has a pleat at the front, leave it. Apparently I can't leave it, so I have used my own pattern piece that has a pleat. Do I pin it in a fancy way? No, I just put it on top of the other one and I cut that way and it's fine. And to do a proper hem, I cut all the way where I want my shorts to end, and then I flick the pattern piece over and I cut that way. This way I have the right angle at the hem. So it's all a bit quick and dirty, but hopefully it's going to work. But I can definitely see there are moments in my life where I want to make things beautifully and the perfect way, and there are those moments where I'm like, let's just get those things done and have the wardrobe ready for Japan. After that, the last project I've cut today so far is the Elisa blouse for Francesca. I wanted to make an Estee shirt for her, the short sleeves versions, but actually the Estee shirt is very long and oversized, and actually I could absolutely not fit it in the amount of fabric I had. This was a remnant I got at the fabric store, 95 centimeters, and no joke, I have used every centimeters of this. I cut top, front and back, I squeezed them together. This gave me just enough fabric on the side to cut one of the front facing. The other front facing I had to cut from a different piece of fabric. The sleeves I had exactly the right height. I couldn't have done them any longer than they were because I did not have the fabric. The color pieces, I could just fit them on the leftover I had from my second front facing. And then finally the back facing, I had to grab fabric in my pile of scraps and try to find a little bit of fabric to cut that into. So quite a Tetris, I have to say. I'm very happy. I have not wasted any fabric. I haven't bought a centimeter more than I needed, but I also needed everything I had. If you're wondering what's the absolute minimum you need to make an Elisa blouse, it is 95 centimeters if you're about my size / Francesca's size. Okay, so that's everything I've cut so far. I still need to cut some bias strips. These are really random sizes of the white satin I've used for my friend's wedding dress. And out of this white satin, which is a very thin wave, I'm going to cut some bias tape to finish my linen top. And I also want to cut Francesca's knit dress for Japan as well. If I'm motivated enough, I'm going to try to do this now. I can do this. I'm a bit intimidated by this one because it's such a big dress and I really want to do a good job for Fran. So yesterday in the end I didn't cut Francesca's dress because she had just left, and I knew that I had to be careful because Francesca has quite broad shoulders and I wanted to make sure that the dress had enough shoulder length. So I didn't cut that. What I ended up cutting was the pair of underwear I'm going to make a tutorial out of. When you are seeing this, the underwear tutorial is already out. This morning, I first wanted to cut a Blooma tank into leftover jersey I had. I knew that the jersey I had was not very stretchy, but it said in the pattern that if you size up, it could be fine. So I was planning to size up. But then it's always funny because you see a piece of fabric and you're like, I can definitely do a tank in that. And then you put the pieces on the fabric and it's like, I can definitely not do a tank in that. There's absolutely not enough fabric. I find it always funny. I feel like it's kind of frequent that you see a piece of fabric and you're like, there's a lot in there, and you try to put the pieces and there's not enough in there. I had the same with the underwear actually. I had some jersey and when I tried to put the pieces on, I was like, no, underwear take more fabric than what you expect. So I ended up cancelling the Blooma tank plans, and the jersey just went into my pile of scraps. I'll deal with that later. So not cutting the Blooma, I went straight to the Estee shirt, which I'm making for Francesca out of leftover from her shirt. So that went fine. I cut that fine. It was also a bit of a Tetris because I was cutting this in leftover from the first shirt project and leftover from the extra fabric I bought from the sleeves. So I had two pieces of fabric that were both leftovers. I had to be a bit creative, but I was quite lucky because even though I did cut the first shirt in a direction, it's not really directional, and I decided that for this one I would cut whichever way just so that it works, and I think it'll be fine. So hopefully Francesca has 2 new camp color shirts for Japan if I manage to do both. Okay, now I'm feeling stressed, so let's not think about that. And then after her shirt I cut her dress, and guys, I'm not going to lie, I have a bit of trauma. I am going to start sewing that now because I need to face my fears and I need to see if it worked or not. Originally, I was thinking, oh, I'll do like lots of small projects like the tank top, the shorts, and like a whole bunch of projects in a day, and it's going to be very motivating. But I need to swallow my frog with this one. I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video because this dress is getting its own video. You know how I have this thing where I always say that Charlie Neebe and we are the same person. I mean, we're not the same person, but we have so many things in common. And here I'm watching a video about can smoking be shelving? And she starts by saying that they were encouraged to collect things when they were young and that she was collecting spoon. And I was encouraged to collect things when I was young. My mom collects key rings, and I feel like it was a cool thing that we would get a key ring for her every time we would go somewhere. And I was encouraged to collect spoons. Just like Charlie and I are the same person. So crazy, so funny. I have finished Francesca's dress. It turned out successfully. So we have our first garment for the Japanese wardrobe. 11 days until we leave. Yesterday I have finished Francesca's dress. Today I would like to make at least the 2 linen tops, and if possible start or even finish, I don't know if it's too optimistic, get a good head start on Francesca's shorts. Started by quickly adding this new tag in Francesca's shirt. She used to have one of the tags that said handmade by Noémie, but she wore it so much that this is what is left of the tag, and I was like, well, you know, it's just a wide tag by this point. The handmade by Noémie is entirely gone. So I have changed it for this one, which I think fits the vibe of the shirt really well. I'm curious if she's going to notice. I will let you know how long it takes for her to notice that I have done this. Now I'll do the zigzag to reinforce this. So I will just zigzag around all the places that are starting to fray. So this is what it looks like now with the zigzag. I think it's fine. Obviously it's visible, but I think it'll work out to be able to use the top a little bit longer and to prolong its life. And I have added, of course, a cute little tags. Everything is getting a tag now. Otherwise, for the French seam on my linen tops, I'm zigzagging the inside so that they are super sturdy. Took 2 hours. I finished the Agostina. I just need to do the binding on the neckline, and the other one I need to do the binding on the neckline and armholes. So I'm 4 bindings away from done. Took 2 hours, so it went fairly quickly. Well, and I also want to put the tag. It's a bit of a boring make, so it's not particularly fun to work on for a long time. Progressing well, but I'll have a break because I'm getting a bit bored. I do want to film a tutorial on how to put the binding on this, but the issue is that the fabric is the same on the inside and the outside, and I do want to do this on a fabric that does show the right and wrong side. Otherwise, I think it's going to be really hard to know what's happening. So I think I will film a tutorial, but not on those ones. Those ones I will just do efficiently and finish and then be able to move on to something else. I started on my linen shorts, and after the tops it was a really nice relief to start something else. Now I don't know how, cut the legs at massively different length. Luckily it looks like they're definitely still long enough, so that's all good. Okay, I'm so proud of like, ooh, I just hack my things on the fly, and this doesn't always work. And yesterday I ended up my sewing session where it started to go all wrong. So already I was noticing that I had cut the thing wrong. And then when I tried to sew the belt, I started doing the thing where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do the flat front. I'll just put the elastic in. It's going to be so much quicker, so much easier. Oh, I'm not going to pin this. And then what happens when you don't pin this? You just catch everything. You have to unpick everything. And I was like, at that point, I'm really happy I realized that it was time to stop. Because when you start unpicking too much, it is a sign that you have sewn enough for the day, and I was not having fun anymore. So that was yesterday. Today I started and I finished the 2 tops. So I did all of the bias bindings and I added the tags, and it felt really good to actually finish some projects. So that was really nice. 2 tops are done, tick tick. And I also did Francesca's pyjama pants, which ended up being a bit too short. I copied them from a ready-to-wear pair she had, and they ended up being a bit shorter than the ready-to-wear. So that was a good sewing day. And I'm also having a lot of fun using my tags and everything. I'm really the type of personality where I'm like, I need to keep them for a beautiful piece, for a special piece, for a lucky day. And now I'm like, you have the tags, you use them. There's no point gathering more than I can use, so I'm using them up. So all my garments feel very special and very polished, so that makes me very happy as well. It is now 9 days before we go to Japan, and I don't know how else I can say this than I think I have a problem. And I've also started editing this video because I was getting very stressed at how much footage I had. Editing the video made me realize that I started this wardrobe plan with only a few pieces, and that I have been adding to it non-stop. And I'm not going to lie, since the last time we spoke, I'm genuinely ashamed of saying, but I have signed up for a test sew, which I have to do this week. So I'm also sewing myself a swimsuit. I was originally going to do a toile and then a swimsuit, but like, I don't think I can. It's like I could, but it's like, why am I doing this to myself? And I have added 2 tank tops on my list. I can't explain. I'm like, I have those ideas and I'm like, I want to try this, and then I get super excited. And then like yesterday, you have to picture, okay, yesterday night, I couldn't sleep out of how many ideas I had in my head. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make this and I'm going to make that. And because I'm like using my scraps at the same time, it really fires everything inside of my brain, because it's like, how do you use your scraps and make it work and everything? So I have lost the plot, and I do realize it, and I was extremely stressed yesterday by my own making. Please don't yell at me in the comments. I do realize that I'm ridiculous. Like, I know, Francesca telling me how ridiculous I am, I know. But so on the to-do list have been added a swimsuit and 2 tank tops, yay. But yesterday night I was looking and I realized that I had to remove some stuff from my list. I have Rachel Stewart sewing here just next to me, but I think I was a bit optimistic because I thought I could fit. So you can see I have half here, but if I thought I could make the rest fit on those 2 pieces, but don't think that's going to work out somehow. Might need to find a smaller tank. Yeah, so I was clearly way too optimistic. There was no way this was fitting. Even looking at maybe putting an Ogden cami on there, like it just wouldn't fit. So this piece of fabric went back into the stash and will be used for something else in the future, but is no longer on my list. So we're giving a big cross on this one project cross and another 3 new projects. But I also have another project cross, which was that on the fabric that Francesca likes to say looks like bandages, I actually could not fit at all everything like I wanted. I had suspected that this would be the case, but it confirmed it when I was cutting it. I was like, there's no way I can cut a tank top and an Agustina on this fabric. So I've decided to cut an Agustina. So I have also 1 tank top down. So 2 tank tops that are not happening, but I have 2 new ones on the list and a swimsuit. So this is the situation. Now, what I saw today, I started the day, I finished my linen shorts. That's done. I think I might need to stop wanting to do a flat front and elasticated back for now, because my hips are so wide compared to my waist. It's very, very hard to get into those shorts because the elastic is quite tight here to be able to hold on to my waist. But because this doesn't stretch, it's very hard to get into them. Like, they're really, really stiff. I have done 2 pleats here, as you can see. I'm happy with my pleats, but honestly, it's not super comfortable to get into, I'm not going to lie. And I have my fun pockets in here. I mean, hopefully it'll be functional for Japan, but I think I need to stop with that model and accept that maybe I need fully elasticated to be able to get over my hips comfortably, or add an opening of some sorts, like a fly or something. Okay, but that's done. Ready to go on holidays. And then I completely sewn, including with the zipper fly and everything, Francesca's shorts that were copied from a ready-to-wear pair that she had. So 2 pairs of shorts done today. I really wanted to have those ones also done and dusted today, but as you can see, the fabric is not even cut. Took me a bit of time to decide which pattern I was going to use. In the end, I think I'm going to use the same one as for the blue shorts, but just widen it to be able to put an elastic waist on them. Well, yesterday I lost my motivation. I really had a dip in energy and I did not want to sew anymore. I didn't sew the whole morning, and in the afternoon I restarted slowly by cutting a few things and interfacing everything that needed to be interfaced. So I cut Francesca's flowery shorts and I cut the top here in the bandage looking fabric, and after cutting those 2 projects, I then interfaced everything that needed to be interfaced for the 2 shirts I'm making for friends, so the facing front and back and the collar piece. And after doing all this, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start sewing. So I whipped up Francesca's shorts. The way I've done them was a little bit different than how I would normally do something with a lining. What I decided to do was to fuse the lining and the main fabric together, like sewing them around the outside, and then to treat them as one piece, and that worked quite well. So I was pretty pleased with that, because I did want it to be lined. I don't know, I didn't want to have a separate lining. I also thought that for the seam allowance it would work better and would make stronger seams. I don't know, I just never did it that way, and I thought I would try that. So that's what I've done, and I'm pretty pleased with the results. The shorts fit really well. What I did is that I used the same copied pattern that I had for the blue shorts. I used that. I removed the darts and I did add 1 centimeter on each side seam to make sure that there would be enough room for her to be able to put it above her hips. So that's for the shorts. It's funny because she kept being like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't want them, like maybe blah blah. And I was like, look, I have leftover fabric, I want to use it, so choose what you want and I'm making it. So in the end I made the shorts. When she tried them on, she was like, oh, those are coming to Japan, they're really cool. I made them a little bit longer. I had totally forgotten. Apparently she had said for the blue shorts that she wanted them longer than the original, and I copied the original exactly. So I made those ones here a little bit longer to atone for the fact that the blue ones are not as long as she wanted them. I really didn't remember that she had said that. And for the lining, when I say I had exactly what I needed, I can't overstate this. Like, it's just, I didn't have a centimeter of fabric too much. I even had to iron the fabric because without being ironed, I couldn't fit the pieces on. And I was like, okay, I feel like if I iron this, it's going to give me the extra centimeter to be able to fit everything on. So that was a puzzle to make everything fit, but I managed, and I'm really happy that, again, I've used as much of this fabric as possible and that I had enough to line the full pair of shorts, because otherwise it wouldn't have been as nice. And then second, I have started, so I never worked with Seersucker, and especially, I don't know, this one is so bouncy. I had no clue how to do the hem nicely, and in the end I've done a zigzag stitch because I thought if I do something not stretchy on something that is stretchy, it might go weird. So I don't know, it's definitely not flat, but at the same time it seems to be the nature of the fabric. And I went totally wild and I made little ruffles on the sleeves, because apparently just having a seersucker is not enough. I can tell you Francesca's not a fan, so I did this. I think I started this one at 9:30 p.m. and I worked for an hour on this. So now I just need to finish the neckline and this one will be done. But yeah, honestly, I don't know. This one was definitely more of a wild card. I think if I had to redo this, I would take the broderie anglaise I originally wanted and just suck it up and line it, because I don't know. Let's give this one a chance, but I feel like it's a little bit out there. So I'll start with doing the neckline here, and then today I'm doing the two shirts. So this is one and this is the other one. I'm making the two camp color shirts for Francesca. So yeah, I mean, it's ticking off, and like you can tell things are ticking along because my couch, which is my informal project pile, is getting more and more empty. So it's starting to get real. Okay, it is officially 6 days before we leave today, and what I wanted to show you. So yesterday I started by finishing the neckline on this top. This is the tag I chose because I felt like this was such a crazy top that, I don't know, I wasn't sure it would work out, but in the end I think it works. I think it kind of works. I started with cutting those projects, so the pink top and the lace top. The inspiration I had for the pink top is that I want a tulip cut in the back and some ruffles around that. And for the lace top, the inspiration I had was that I wanted a full button placket with buttons on there. So that's the little special things I'm going to do. And after that, I gave a good head start to both shirts. So what I need to do is still like tack the facing down for both of them and add the sleeves, hem the sleeves, hem the hem, add the buttons. So there's still a little bit of work on both of those. So that's what I will be doing today. And not for the Japanese wardrobe, but yesterday night I also cut this, which is going to be my swimming pool tote, which will come for you guys as a tutorial soon. I'm back from the pool, so that's why I'm like, you can literally still see my go-go marks, and that's what my, sorry, that explains this. By the way, I quickly wanted to show you, these are the shorts I made for Francesca, the ones she requested. And originally I was going to film a tutorial on how to do a zip fly while making those shorts, but as you can see, the fabric doesn't have a right or wrong side, and I didn't want to film a tutorial on a fabric that didn't show right from wrong, because I think it makes things very difficult. So sadly, because I know that some of you have asked, I won't have a zipper fly tutorial straight away, because now the project is done and I don't want to do a tutorial just for the sake of it. I want to make it part of a project. But so you're going to have to wait for my next zipper fly to get a tutorial. But just so you know, I'm not forgetting you guys. The zipper fly tutorial is coming. It's just this fabric wasn't the right one for that. With all this, I'm going to start work on my shirts. I was kind of hoping I could do the two shirts yesterday, but I had to do a bit of unpickings. I don't know if the markings on the pattern pieces were wrong or if I did something wrong, but I originally put the pocket. Can you see the stitch line? Originally the pocket was here, which is obviously way too close from where the buttons are going to be. Like there was no space for the button with the pocket there, so I moved the pocket. It's now here. It's sad because I feel like it's a bit camouflaged now, and I had chosen a pretty corner of fabric for the pocket, but so I had to move the pocket, which took a bit of time. We are getting there. The two shirts for Francesca are going to be done today. Oh my god, I'm so tired. The pool totally killed me this morning. I'm finding it very hard to get to work. I've been doing some editing to be doing something a bit more gentle than sewing, but I'm going to have to get to it. If I want to finish everything, I want to finish before we leave. But I just got an exciting package and I thought, all excuses to procrastinate are good excuses. So let's open this. This is sadly not for Japan, even though it would be the perfect project to take with if I was ready to take a little bit more luggage. I will talk about the packing of, oh my god, it's like I just want you to appreciate where the dog is. I will talk about which creative project I'm packing with at the end of this video. It's a whole question. Oh, you like those packages because they smell of leather, don't you? It is Milo approved. Yay! Ooh. So I have received another bag from Babylon Leather. They have really kindly offered to send me another one. I'm not paid to talk about this. This is actually not even the video I told them I would feature the bag in. I'm just very excited. But I did receive the bag for free. I mean the bag. This is what I have received. So at the end of the last video I did with them, I did talk a bit about which bag I would want to do next. And there were a lot of sensible options, but when they reached out to see if I wanted another bag, it was right at a moment where I had the thing I mentioned in my monthly vlog when it's like I had to celebrate something, and I was like, you know what? This is a celebration bag. Sometimes the right choice is not the sensible bag, and I feel like the previous bag I got was already pretty serious and, you know, the wise practical choice. So this time I was like, I'm not going to go practical, I want to go all wild. I don't have time to sew it now. This is, I'm going to put it down because it's way too noisy. The reason why I thought it was good to make a bag again now is that my knitting project is a color work, and color work is something I need to really focus on a lot. Like I can't chat and do the color work or watch TV and do it at the same time because it requires too much focus for me. This is a really mindless activity where you can just get in the flow, and so I was like, this is perfect because my knitting is a bit complicated at the moment. So this is going to serve as my mindless project. So I'm very excited for that. Not getting started now, but that'll be my treat once I'm back from Japan. So yesterday was simply not the day. It never happened. I cut a few things, I did a few prep steps, but the energy never came. So I had a day of sewing and I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to finish all I want to finish. I'm going to have to sew until midnight the night before we leave. And I realized a lot of projects were added later on. At this point, I have what is absolutely necessary for my wardrobe. Like the only thing that really needs to happen is the 2 shirts for Fran and the swimsuit I'm pattern testing. That's it. The rest, we do not stress about. And removing the stress made me feel better. I can picture still doing all of the things anyway, but being free from that stress and that pressure was really good. So nothing to catch you up on from yesterday. I am very glad I gave myself the day off. After all, I'm not a one-woman sweatshop, so it's fine. And now I'm really excited to start again today to give a good go at the 2 shirts. I'm really like, if I can finish them early enough, then I can do the 2 tank tops. Like, I'll see how much I can do today. But yeah, it was very appreciated to have a little break yesterday. Okay, 1, the shirts are going really well. It was pretty tricky to sew down all of the facing, to be honest. Like, it's such a sharp curve. I really had to use about 1,000,000 pins, and it's annoying because this one's fine, but the other fabric really marks with pinholes. So I hope that with the washes, the fabric is going to kind of go back into place, but you can kind of see where I put my pins. Managed to do this, but took a lot of ironing, a lot of pins, but I'm really glad that it's coming together. Now I'm attaching the sleeves. I've also started the underwear tutorial that is already going to be out whenever you see this. So if you want to see this tutorial, don't hesitate to go and watch it. Francesca's not there. She left and she said, don't run yourself to the ground sewing. What are we going to do? Sew like mad. Okay, no. I'm going to, 1, attach the sleeves onto the shirt, 2, finish the tutorial for the underwear. And I'll see what I feel like doing with the shirts. Like, I'll kind of like move on with the shirts as much as I feel like. Maybe hemming the sleeves and the hem, and this way there's only the buttons left. But I would like Francesca to be there to see where we place the bottom. So maybe like that, like working further on the shirts, underwear, and then originally after that I wanted to start the pink top and the lace top, but the new version of the swimsuit I'm testing just came out and I'm super excited. It's kind of fun to be in the testing group because there was style feedback that we have and that have been taken on board, and I'm really excited to see the new version. So I think I'm going to ditch the tops for today and, you know, push them to tomorrow and start on the swimsuit today because I'm very excited to see how that's going to turn out. So I have been listening to The Fraud by Zadie Smith, and it's nice, but I'm not like 100%, like I'm not gripped by it. I'm a bit, yeah, it's fine, it's nice, but because I'm out of YouTube videos to watch because I've been sewing for so long that I've obliterated my to watch list. It's a tough life. I am now back to audiobooks, but The Fraud, I can't listen to hours on end, like it's really not vibing that much for me. So I decided to go to something a little bit more chill, which is Jane Austen, the entire collection, a beautiful 69 hours and 28 minutes of happiness. It starts with Lady Susanne. I kind of want to skip that one and go straight to Sense and Sensibility, but I tend to be good and listen to the whole thing in order. I think I'll just do that. But yeah, Lady Suzanne's not my favorite. I listened to my book on Libro.fm, and it's supposed to be a more ethical option than the other big audiobook option that you guys already know of. Here we are. I'm going to switch. No, I'm going to try to listen to a little bit more of Zadie Smith, and then when I'm sick of it, I'll change to our dear friend Jane Austen. And yeah, I'm so excited. So like Francesca's not there, I feel like I'm a wild child. I'm like, I can do what I want. I'm going to do all my sewing. So yeah, I'll report back, but it's good. I think it's good to give yourself the time of sewing when you need it so that you're excited again afterwards. But yeah, I also think Francesca was like, wow, it's such a shame this was not your everything I can sew in a week video. And I was like, you can't know when the sewing madness is going to arrive. And yeah, my what I can sew in a week video was not with so much sewing, and this one has much more sewing than what I expected. I also feel like because there's the deadline of the holiday, I'm like, I want to do as much as possible before we leave. But yeah, let's get to it. I have basically finished the shirt. I just need to pop the buttons on, so button and buttonholes. I might redo the hems of the sleeves because for both patterns they're really long. So I'll need to try that on Francesca and see. I think she wants the sleeve shortened. For one of them, maybe we'll keep them long for Japan and then shorten them afterwards. But I have to say I am getting pretty tired, and I can feel like this is starting to be a lot of sewing. I'm working on accepting that I'm finishing the shirt, I'm doing the swimsuit, and the rest will wait. But it's hard. It's hard with my brain. I really want to finish things. 4 days before Japan, my neck is blocked again. Nowhere near as bad as last time. It's all right, but I'm so unlucky apparently. It's like again trying to put my swimming cap at the pool. I'm wondering if it's just from all the sewing I do during the day. When I put my swimming cap, it's kind of the extra thing that puts my neck in a really grumpy place. Yesterday, I gave myself a little break, which was very much needed. I really had to accept, if I'm not sewing anymore today, that's how it is. If you don't finish everything, that's how it is. But giving myself the break, I actually felt quite excited to cut the swimsuit in the evening. So that's what I did. I cut the swimsuit. So today, my big hope is to sew this swimsuit. And if there's time to do more, that's good, but I'm going to focus on the swimsuit because I do notice that I tend to give myself a little bit too much to do every day. It's not only having time to do more, it's having the energy to do more. I'm learning. You see, I'm trying to get better at this. So I'm going to make the swimsuit and then I'll see if I have more energy to do something else. And this is it. 3 days before leaving for Japan, my couch is free of projects. No more projects for me to sew. Well, just behind you on the project pile, but not current project pile, is the cut lace top and the cut pink top and the cut swimming pool tote bag, and all of those projects will have to wait. I really decided I needed to stop stressing myself out and trying to sew more and more. And really yesterday, so I sewed half of the swimsuit yesterday. I finished it this morning, and I have to say, sewing slower, enjoying what I'm doing, working on making nice finishes I'm happy with, and being happy with the work, and not going for finishing as fast as possible and churning as many projects as possible, has been very, very nice. I've enjoyed the sewing of this swimsuit a lot more due to the fact that I wasn't rushing through it, and that I knew that there wasn't like another 10 projects after it. My god, there's Milo hair flying towards you. My god, Milo, can you stop scratching yourself just here? I had some trouble with the back elastic. I redid this one 3 times, I kid you not. I even cut a new elastic because the original one I had so many holes. I was like, you are not going to do anything anymore. And every time I have more tension at the start than at the end, and I even ended up sewing the middle, thinking, well, if I sew the middle and then I do either end, it can't be wrong, and somehow it was still with more tension at the start than at the end, so I don't really know what happened there. So there's a little like pucker around that elastic, but at some point, I mean, I guess I could have redone it until it worked, but I thought that 3 goes was enough. But otherwise, except that, I'm really happy with the look of this swimsuit. Well, actually, let me put it on. Ta-da! Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, it makes me so happy. I'm really, really happy with it. It has a little tack here, which means that this doesn't open more than I would want it to. If I have to be picky, the stitching of the waistband was kind of the hardest part and is not as neat as it could have been. Francesca saw it and was like, if this was on the sewing bee, they would comment on your top stitching, and I was like, soon I'm not going to let you watch Sewing Bee anymore if this is how you react to my makes. But in any case, so I finished the swimsuit. Ding! The construction was actually quite different to what I'm used to make. I normally make the swimsuit, make the lining, and then combine them at the end. And here you sew, for example, the side seams all together. Like you sew, it's kind of like witchcraft, like the front and the lining, everything you sew one seam, and then you open it and it works. And it's kind of great because it's much easier to sew. I thought that it would be hell because I thought, oh my god, 4 layers of lycra, it's going to be so slippery, but actually it's much thicker, so everything holds nicely together, and my machine ate the fabric a lot less because the layer was so thick. And then it means that the side seam doesn't travel, like they don't go like this kind of between the lining and the main fabric. They stay together because they're attached together. So it was kind of funny because I saw the constructions. I'm like, oh no, I know better, I know the technique I like, I don't want to do this way. And I was like, well, I'm testing the pattern, so I kind of have to do it that way. And then I loved it. I think in general I have to be careful to not be stuck in my ways. When I have a technique that I know works, I'm like, I don't want to change, I want to do the way I know. And sometimes it is good to branch out and to actually see what else is out there. So I'm very happy I tried this new to me technique, and very happy with the construction of this swimsuit. I think if I were to do it again, I would definitely do this better. I understand now why I didn't do the best job on the waistband. All the rest, I'm super happy. As you can see, it's not too revealing at the front. It has 2 different back length options. And well, I'll show you on the photo, but I have the peekaboo hole as well in the back, and you don't have to have that. The bum is quite covered, and if you like even more coverage, there's an additional skirt that comes with the swimsuit. I had a blast pattern testing this, and I'm really happy with it. I'm pretty sure by the time this comes out, the pattern is going to be out. And then I sewed the buttons and buttonholes for Francesca's last 2 shirts, and then I called my mom, and while I was on the phone with my mom, I sewed all of the threads in and everything, so finished the buttonholes and finished the buttons, which always takes so long. Like, you think your shirt is finished and then it takes so long to weave all of the threads in and everything, but that is now done. So yay, the 2 shirts are done. So we are ending, I was going to say this week, but it's a bit more than a week, with 10 projects done. I'm pretty happy. Tomorrow, so 2 days before we go to Japan, I'm going to clean the house and we're having friends over, and then the day before we are going to drop Milo off at his dog hotel, and then we're off. So if I have to reflect quickly on the different projects I have made, the 2 linen tops I quite like. I really wonder if I'm going to be able to wear them or not. At the moment it is a heat wave in Japan and really hot and really humid. We're going to see if the white linen is there to save me. That's also why I ended up thinking drop it for the 2 tank tops, because I think I want my shoulders covered anyway. So the lace and the pink tank top are going to be nice for afterwards, for home, but I don't think they're going to be the ones for Japan, because yeah, I think I'm going to want to protect my skin from the sun anyway. In the end, in those 3 beige tops, the 2 linen ones and the one that is the bandage fabric as we now call it, I think that one is the best one. It's very light, it's very breezy. It has a little something with the ruffle at the sleeves. I mean, I really thought it was my wild card, but I think it has something going for it. So going to see how this one fares, but I'm pretty pleased with it in the end. And like, I really remember sewing it and being like, oh, not sure it's going to be the one, but actually I'm pretty happy. My kind of failure, I mean, we're going to see, but I don't feel really great in them, is the shorts. I think I pattern hacked a little bit too close to the sun. It doesn't suit my figure super well. I don't feel flattered at all in those shorts. They're hard to get on because I didn't put the elastic all the way around. Yeah, altogether, I'm not super happy with the shorts, I have to say. I hope they will be practical and functional in Japan, but not my best make. And this is particularly why I'm like, it is worth taking your time, sometimes doing a twirl and everything, and not just like trying to churn as many projects as possible, because I'm a bit disappointed in those, and I really needed a better short, so I hope they'll be fine enough to get me through this trip. But yeah, a bit disappointed in the shorts, but I feel like out of the 5 projects I made for myself, one more disappointing one is okay, and I hope that they'll still be functional. I will report back once we're back. And then for Francesca, I made her dress, which you shall see on my channel end of August, and then the 2 shirts and the 2 shorts. She loves her 2 shorts. I'm really happy with those. They went so well. I will show on screen the original shorts I copied the blue ones from, and you can judge if I did a good job at making the new pair. The ones with the flowers, she's been wearing them non-stop since I finished them, so I think it's great. They're a bit longer and a bit more comfortable for her. And then right now I just finished my last 2 projects, the 2 shirts. This is the Elisa shirt and the Estee shirt, and they both have quite long sleeves. I'm probably gonna hem both of them once we're back from Japan, but I'm first going to let Francesca wear them a little bit and see how she wants them hemmed. But yeah, very happy to be done with them. I really worked really hard on making them really neat. And yeah, so that's 5 projects for me, 5 projects for Francesca. I'm very happy with everything I've done for her, as usual. Now the very important question: which craft project am I going to take with me to Japan? And the answer is, I am not taking a craft project. The only project I have which would be transportable is the knitting project I have at the moment, which is a surprise project I'm making for a friend. But so 1, it's a surprise, so I don't really want to knit it in front of her. 2, it's color work. It's a color work knit. It's mittens. I'm telling you, I don't think she'll watch this, so I can tell you I'm making her mittens. Why are you crying? Just come back in. It's a color work, so I feel like it's going to take too much focus and it's going to be too hard to kind of like do on the go. If we have a quiet evening, I don't think I will want to do something super brainy, something I've never made before, something that I need to then compare with the mittens she has here. I feel like there's too much that's unsure about those mittens to take this and have this successful craft project to travel. So as I don't have any project that I can really take with me to travel, I thought of taking my watercolors, but yeah, I don't know, it also didn't feel right. Decided that once I arrive in Japan, one of my first mission is going to be to find myself a cross stitch or an embroidery project, a kit of some sort, and I will do whatever I buy this. I'm creative project free, which is very scary also, like that means I have nothing for the plane, but it's fine, I have my Kindle and I'll have lots of books on there. But so that's also something I will report back on, what creative project I found and what I did. So yeah, so originally I was going to put a list of everything I'm taking and packing to Japan, because I'm obviously packing mostly me-mades that were not featured in this video as well, but I think you've seen me for long enough by now, like this video was probably long enough. So I will not do a whole list of everything I'm packing. I will report back once I'm back from Japan and tell you what worked and what didn't work, but let's spare you the list. We've been here for long enough. I will free you. If you really want to spend more time with me, have you seen my Paris vlog? For some reason it wasn't seen by many people, but it's a video I really enjoy. So if you haven't seen my Paris vlog and you do want to spend a little bit more time with me, make sure you go and watch it. It's not a very long video, so you're not committing to anything dramatic. So I will now leave you. There is a ton of pre-filmed videos from me, so you will not miss me. You will see my face just as regularly, even though I'm not there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me during this vlog. Thank you so much to Birgit for tipping me a coffee. It means a ton. Like this video if you like sewing with me. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And don't forget that you can make anything. Bye!